lot of names just in case. So what we're going to do is work on closing the gap on these two. Okay. So how it's going to look in the beginning is we're going to start walking around the park, so we don't have to worry about like the off-leash dogs as much. And we're going to start with Finn in front, and then you guys are going to be behind with Penny. Okay. Since Finn is on the right, I'm going to have you approach from the left side with Penny on your left. So eventually, as we're going to slowly just close the gap. We'll start from behind. We'll walk a bit. We'll most likely see there's a lot of this behavior because we're going to be concerned about Penny behind them. Right? We're going to keep moving. You'll tap to redirect him to keep him on that side, facing forward as much as possible. And then once we feel like he's good at a good point, they'll then come beside you. So it'll be Penny, and we'll do Penny, person, Finn.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple of us will have to lag back to give him space.
Okay.
And then we see what he does. As we start to slowly close the proximity, we're watching things like the hackles, growling, nuzzling up, all that stuff. So we'll keep an eye on him. It doesn't mean we'll tap immediately. Okay, so if his hackles go up, but he's keeping still, we'll keep walking. And as he gets comfortable, that might just go away. Okay, so if Penny's here and Finn's there, and we walk for like, a section of the park and he calms down, I go, okay, now let's bring Penny here. So now it's person, Penny, person, Finn. Okay? So we're closing that proximity to slowly test his threshold. He might have a limit to this, where he's like, nope, the closest I want Penny is on the left. Don't be discouraged. That's just today. But this exercise is very kind of regimented, and you keep repeating. So maybe we only get to this today, but you do it 5 more times, and then on the 5th time, you're able to come to this stage. And then it takes you 10 more times. Then you get closer. See how that works?
Yeah.
In most cases, we're able to get them side by side and even like low-level socializing stuff. But just in case, just so you're aware.
Okay.
Okay?
Will you tell us when to, what behavior to tap for, or we should?
Yeah. I'll be playing on all the stuff, and then I'll let you know when to start closing the gap. Okay. So we'll start off first. I'll have you guys go down this path here. We'll go down to what is Larrabee, and we're just gonna go in a square around the outside of the park.
Okay, still like not on the sidewalk, inside the sidewalk on the outer edge.
On the sidewalk.
Gotcha.
Yeah, on the sidewalk. Yeah. And then you guys will fall behind. Okay. Go ahead.
Yep.
How old is Penny? 5. Is she like a little beagle mix?
Yeah, Beagle Chihuahua.
Beagle Chihuahua. I can see it. Got that coming up there. What the hell is going on? Good. Oh, no. And then Greek gate. Spot off these dogs. Reunite. You might have to let go of a few things today. Like the walking and stuff. Yeah. When we do stuff like this, you have to think about the battles. So right here. Go ahead and come in about like 6 feet behind. Go ahead and come in like about 4 feet. Right there. So right now I'm just watching Finn. He's not picked up on Penny. fight yet. You got a little puff, like you hear that little murmur. Yeah, right there. Yep, just forward. There you go. So typically when I do this, here we have a nice like park. So with like each kind of section, I close the gap each time and make a change. Unless I see the dog get stuck at a point where there's too much discomfort, and then I'll just keep moving until ideally we get into a good point to rest. But if you're doing this around the neighborhood, you know, do it for a couple of blocks, then you switch to a different position, a couple of blocks, move from there. Ideally in a place that's neutral, you know, out of the, even like the neighborhood, will make things easier. And what we're doing here is for people, when we build a relationship or a friendship, we can like go to the movies, go to a restaurant, go to the park, go jogging, go to a book club, right? We have like all these activities that we can do that essentially builds that relationship over time. Right? Like you don't just meet someone and be like, hey, want to be best friends?
Yeah.
You know? And that's what it's time. So with dogs, not every dog is typed to just be happy-go-lucky and be friends with anybody they meet.
Yeah.
Right? There are people like that though too. Right? So if I get a dog that's antisocial, it just, in a lot of cases with genes, they're not the type to befriend anybody you have to build trust. The way we go about that is through activities. The number of activities the dog does is they eat, they use the bathroom, they will hunt if they could, they play, they rest, they travel, maybe a couple other things, right? So very small number of things that they do. So the best way to build a relationship between dogs is traveling, walking. He's not ready for sniff, sniff, who are you? Okay? So by doing this, we're creating coexistence. If we get tense, we correct it to teach them that that's not acceptable, and this other dog is not disappearing, right? So he goes fine, he deals with it, and every dog is different. With some dogs, is once we do this whole thing, you think, oh, I just walked with you for an hour, you're pretty cool, you didn't bother me, and they open up a little. In other cases, if he sees Kenny 100 times and you just walk and everything, eventually it's kind of like, oh, I've hung out with you 100 times, and it's not ever been a bad thing. And then he opens up. Okay? So we kind of push for the end result immediately. We want happy-go-lucky running around loose playing in the yard day one, right? Because that's what a lot of people's experience has been. Not how it works. Okay, so we're trying to get them to that point, and the first way of building comfort is just not stressing him having to be sniffed or to sniff another dog at the get-go. Okay, so it's kind of like with people, you know, if you ask them out on a date, you don't just show up and smack them with a kiss right away. You know, it's just too forward. So it's kind of different from dog. Okay, so we're just slowly getting used to that. So what we do here is we'll have you hug up to the right, and then you're going to start coming over to the left, keeping Penny on your left side, okay? And let me have you shorten your leash just a wee bit. There you go. And go ahead and make your way like that to her left side. You'll be walking shoulder to shoulder. Yep. You're good. Right there. Good. So now, step forward. No, you can shorten a little, but relax. There you go. Keep forward. Ready? Yeah. Let me see here. Pull out to your left a bit. Tap. Okay. Good. And just keep that distance that you have right there. Okay. Good. So, moving to the left side clearly bugged him in the beginning because you had that nip, but that tap de-escalated him. Okay. Now you see how he keeps looking to your left side? So Penny is still a concern to him. Okay? So what we're gonna try here is every time he looks to the left, is you're gonna give a tap. Be ready for a redirect. Okay? Correct. If you look at her, if he's looking up at you or something else, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, what's your number?
5.
Okay. Good. It was brief, but you see interest. So I don't mind glances to acknowledge, but we don't want dialing in. Okay? And this isn't going to make a negative association with him. He's just thinking, when I get too intense, looking in that direction and hey, this happens, I'm not going to do that. So that if he doesn't feel that intensity, ideally we shouldn't see him go to the next level. Good. Start going. Sit. Going forward. And we'll make a left here. Good. I'm gonna have you keep Penny on the left, but I'm gonna have you come in a little bit closer to Liz. There we go. Good. Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence about that vocalization. Well, he's doing much better about looking at Penny.
Yeah, it was like, when it's still like, it's nice to have the option.
You relax. You look ahead. I'll get down. Yep. He's definitely stressful. He keeps yawning. That's why I instead of having her bring Penny in, I just close the gap a little bit, and we just keep going in the same direction.
Yo, what's the next one?
What we'll do on this turn here is I'll have you go, you'll give more space again, but then she's going to move Penny on the right. So it'll be her, Penny, you, then Finn. What's right there?
Not on Sunday, but hey.
Yeah, I know. You guys gotta pay extra. I worked with a client once. It was pouring rain, but she came in from Palatine or Elton, and she was in traffic. She's like, Jessica, can we please trains? Like, not want to go. I don't take down like yes, you know. I'm okay with you.
Definitely a job where you're out in the element.
Yeah, I'll be used to it because I work on boats too. So,
What are you doing on boat?
hi, Captain. If you ever feel anything that you're not sure about, you can always remote it.
Okay.
And if anything, you're just gonna think come in tighter.
Okay.
But I'd rather take advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
And if it was wrong, then I just say it's 1% left. Yeah. I'm going this side. Yep.
Down part to
Go ahead and give more space on the left. Like you'll bring Kenny to the right. So now he's kind of side-eyeing her. He's not locking on like he was before. But yeah, I guess he's already done like 4 or 5 of them. Give a tap. Just forward. Good. And you want to come a little bit this way? So you'll be on the path and she gets the other sidewalk. There you go. How long are you guys here till? How long are you here for? What's it? Yeah, you see how he's like, as we move her to the closer, now he's turns down up a little bit. Puppy? Little tiny little thing, huh?
Under a pound.
Oh, wow. Under a pound. Hamsters.
Yeah. Actually,
Good tap?
a friend adopted a dog in Indiana. He adopted
Oh, wow. Sure. You know, that actually happened.
a what? Really?
No, it's not uncommon. Or they'll like, the dog has issues and they won't say anything.
Yeah.
So after the dog's adopted,
Yeah.
but then at that point there's already attachment that the owner's less likely to surrender the dog.
Right.
So that tap earlier was because he got a little intense for whatever reason. Just to calm him down a bit. I'm gonna have to go to short things on the leash because we're gonna bring her in closer. We want to limit how much motion, like range she has going across the thing.
Amanda, do you want to stop and put her leash on her top?
Does it make a big difference?
You'll have the most control with the flat collar. You're good, yeah. Thank you. The ears are starting to go back a little bit. That's all him, right? And when you walk with him normally, just bring that down.
Sometimes.
He's gotten more vocal. Like even the last day, we went out last night. He was kind of anxious.
Sure.
He was kind of like singing.
Is it just in the past day?
Yeah. I mean, he's got like he'll be huffy a lot of the time.
Sure.
Like loud lighting when he's kind of a little bit more amped up, but yeah, the vocal movement is a little bit more, a little bit more. But you would always do that when you go to a park or something.
Sure. I haven't seen any hackles, unless that little puff right there is hackles.
Yeah.
That's his hackles?
Yeah.
Okay. Give us tap. You're at 6?
Yeah.
Try 7. What's the highest you've gone?
8 or 9.
After the first day?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's good.
Tap. There it is. Okay?
Yeah.
Second. Good. Forward. And shorten your leash a little bit. Tap. So that was quick. He took a look back, looked forward, and then back, and then jumped back to go forward. Okay? So when he's looking across, that's when he's getting the thought process. How you feeling?
Good. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was really quick. So, one second. You're at what number now? 7?
7.
So 8.
Okay.
Forward. So his ears are back. Good. Those hackles are still up. Yeah. Alright. You see his shoulders? Oh, so they went up a little bit. They went down for a second,
Okay.
and then it started to puff up again. It doesn't look to be as much as it was before.
You mean you're talking about the tackle?
Yeah, I'm looking right there, that little
Yeah.
tuft. Okay, can you see if we can get that to settle?
Okay.
But I would probably limit it to this
Okay.
until you can get the muzzle.
Okay. So
Okay.
we have, but we're still working on getting it.
Yeah, and what you can do, well actually, we'll see how much time we have at the end, and then I'll give you how we'd approach the muzzle, so you
Okay.
kind of breeze through it. You're at 8 now, right? Okay. Yep. Go and look down in hackles. You see? Oh. It's like, because you know his hackles better than I do. When you did that, it was similar, like even here for me, this looks a little bit lower, but then it starts like right there, it looks lower. Okay?
Yeah.
And then because when they're up, they tend to like spike up. So I'm really watching there. For me, when he's completely relaxed, because you can see where there's like an outline right there. Is that just like its own thing, or is that really just all hackles?
It's slightly up.
Okay. So what we want is that to be normal.
Flat.
Yeah. Okay. So I really observe when he's at home, when he's relaxed. Look at that spot. Okay. And because I can see the outline.
Yeah.
But for me, I've seen a couple of dogs that had something like that, so made it like like Rhodesians.
Yeah.
Right.
You know. So you know him better than I do. Is we want to get that as relaxed as possible. Give a tap here. And it kind of seems after they hit, they go up for a moment.
Yeah.
And then it settles a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Some things that I do like are that his ears are floppy and back, and then they're going up, right? Whereas when we first started, they were straight up the entire time.
Yeah.
Once we got to 8 or 9, we started to see this more
Yep.
back motion. He's also quieted down.
Yeah.
Okay. So for your normal walks, I would start. Watch here. Careful. I would start pushing around this range.
Okay.
Because if it's just a regular walk where nothing's going on, there really shouldn't be any vocalization. That's one thing, right? And if you've noticed, just on a regular walk, those hackles are up as well, and there's nothing going on. Another thing to push for, okay?
Are you saying walk with any or normal walk?
Normal walks, yeah. And when he vocalizes, we're gonna tap him for that too.
Okay.
So we're gonna start being super strict with this.
Okay.
With Penny, I think this is probably the furthest we can push safely until we get him muzzle conditioned.
Okay.
Because when he looked back, like he was going for it. That wasn't playing. Let me have you hold 10.
No.
A little spot right here. We got a couple of dogs coming up. We're gonna push a little bit, but we're not gonna go to the sniffing thing. Like, so typically, we would then move to Penny on your left, and then you would come on this side. So then it would be you, Penny, Finn, then you.
Yeah.
Okay, to get used to that. But if we push any closer, then today I'm pretty confident that's what's gonna happen. But we will push a little bit, but in a more passive setting. These guys. Let me have you move here with him, please. Did you guys want to swap it out, or do you want to just handle it?
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Do you mind if I handle Penny?
Sure.
Okay. So, go ahead and shorten your leash a bit more. Perfect. Okay. If anything happens, up.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So,
back?
yes. Until he settles. Okay. So what we can do here, there we go. Now, here, you're gonna pull toward your right and tap to get him to your left leg.
And I'm on 10. You want me to stay there?
You can go down to 8. Okay, so right there, as soon as Penny got closer, you saw how he shifted, went behind your leg, right? So you want to be very aware of those things. At some point, if you're trying to push them to the next stage, you have to move past that. So if I bring Penny forward and he hides behind your right leg, typically we would say let it go. Because if the dog passes, you don't want explosion. But when you're trying to push for socialization, you can't allow it because then he's showing antisocial behavior. He's saying, nope, don't want anything to do with her. And you're saying, too bad, buddy, because this is a dog that you're going to see a lot of. Okay? So you're kind of forcing that issue. And then also taking note of the distance. Okay, so here she's about like 5 to 6 feet. Okay? I'm going to have you lightly direct them to the tap.
So closer to my shoe, basically.
Correct.
Okay.
There you go.
You got it.
1 second, and then pull off you tap. Good. There you go. Right there, relax. Good. Now, go ahead and pivot so that you're on his side here.
On his left side.
There you go. That's fine. Yeah. Now turn. There you go. So now turn. There you go. Perfect like that. Good. There you go. So the looking is fine here. Okay. So when we tap for the looking on the walk, too much intensity. If you look at his eyes here, can you see how they're a little soft?
Yeah.
Right? And you can kind of see that oh shit face. Right? You recognize that? Yeah. So that's okay. I want to see concern, but we're not tapping for looking because now he has to decipher what is it being tapped. It's not the looking, it's the intensity behind the looking, right? So here we let these go because they're passive. But if we start to see him zone in and go like that, that's where we'd stop. And then he'd get confused, and then you'd have to replace him back into position and then bring her back in again. Okay? Because it's repetition of, okay, I looked at the dog, but was it really the looking or was it what I was doing behind that? Okay? And we have a little couple of those going back here. I know, sweetheart. Good. Now, if he sniffs, that's okay. But I'm going to have you keep your leash how you have it. Okay? Very good. I'm going to step away for a second. Good. All right, see how he's sniffing here? Right? So, he doesn't need to be right next to Penny to get her scent. Dogs can smell things from a great distance. Like I think I read they can sniff, if they have their head out the car, they sniff, or can smell 3 cars ahead of you. So here, the smelling is social behavior. That's like their handshake. So we don't tap the sniffing, okay? Even if you're on a walk, like let's say you're walking, a dog's passing, and you see him pulling off in disobedience, but he's catching a scent, I would let it go. Yes, he's being disobedient, but we care about the socialization aspect. So that overrides the obedience, okay? And then once that's done, tap him, bring him back in line, and we keep going, okay? If you tap by accident, you're not gonna ruin everything, but anything that's social, you let it slide, okay? Here, because I saw the sniff, I waited a moment, and then I pulled Penny away to release the tension or the pressure that he was feeling, okay? So the closer the dog is to him, the more uncomfortable he is. So I was happy with he was restrained. After we did that first little, we tidied up that little bit there, brought her around. There was some concern, looking right as she circled around, but no agitation. The ears for the most part stayed back. Then he started to go like, okay, well you've been sitting there for a couple of seconds. The nose started to kick in, good, and I just moved back to create space, okay, to ease him up. So as we do this, when we repeat, when you bring the dog in, you're creating discomfort, and then when you remove the dog, it's like they relax, but there's still a level of discomfort there, like the stacking that we had talked about before with the reactivity, right? It's the same kind of concept here. So as I keep repeating this, it's possible that he keeps bloating with discomfort and it keeps coming down only to a certain degree that we may get an explosion. Here, good with that? Good, lightly pull forward. Okay, a little bit more forward.
Hand tap?
Yep. Good, right there, perfect. Right. And it was really just more like, what's going on, right? But it's kind of like, don't worry about it. Dad's petting another dog. Don't worry about it, right? That and the energy, because you can curtail, right? The wiggliness. That can also bother dogs. So when we're doing this stuff, it's step by step. People tend to think once you get that social aspect, even if it's really calm energy, that they're just going to be fine. That's not the case. So like, let's say we got to a point where he was fine with Penny and they were just coexisting and everything was super chill. But then Penny goes into let's play mode. That may potentially bother him because now the energy is different. Okay, it's not out the ordinary, but it's things that people don't anticipate. Maybe they're fine with coexisting and playing, but then Finn is resting at your feet and Penny comes up to say hi. That's a totally different context. So just because he's fine in one aspect doesn't mean it's going to be a fine across the board. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. Me already knowing this stuff, when I'm socializing dogs, whenever I see something about to happen, I'm right away watching. Because I'm assuming this might be a problem, whereas most people assume it's been good so far. Right? So little things like that make a big difference, and it puts you a step ahead. Okay? Questions so far?
No, I think, it's a lot. I'll have a recap list of just like, here's what we can practice and work together.
Yep.
Will the muzzle be in play all the time? Or?
So when the muzzle comes into play, it'll help you push for more without the anxiety or nervousness that in case he tries something is going to go south, right?
Yeah.
And you can push through it. Most people stop and they go, we've had enough, we're done. And I go, no, that's the last thing he remembers. So the next time he sees Penny, he's going to pick up right there. But if it goes south, I correct it. We keep going like we did. We didn't end the walk. He's thinking, okay, well, I tried it. I got corrected. Penny didn't go anywhere. Plus, like, I sniffed her. You know, you're ending on that note. So when you do it yourselves, if you do this, you know, in this coming week, if you get a really good, like, point of progress, cap it. Okay? I myself have done it where I push too much, and then it just goes south, and I can't recover for another damn it. So if it happens, no big deal. But ideally, if you get a really good point and you feel really good about it, stop. Okay. So what can happen with the muzzle is we keep repeating this exercise. The next thing would have been this, but they're loose sniffing. We're still holding the leash, and we're letting them just walk past each other. He might sniff her, she might sniff him, type of deal, and then moving them away from each other. Just getting used to that, getting acclimated. And as you do it, what you might find is each time you repeat it, it gets easier and easier to get back to that ending point.
Got a crazy off leader up here. I think you might
Oh yeah.
run over.
Let's go ahead and. Oh yeah. Enrique. Oh yeah. I think he's trying to find the entrance. Okay, we're like bodyguards.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to come over and walk sometime.
Go ahead and tap with Finn. Thank you. Tap. Lightly pull forward. Yep, there you go. You got it. Very good. And then relax. Good. Good catch. So, and I don't know if you noticed there, you could see the wall. Like the dog was looking, but it wouldn't look past where you guys were standing. Forward body language, confrontation. Okay, so if the dog tried to pursue forward, I'd step in. I was about to go, hey.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Right. But I saw the guy, he had a whistle or something, so I was like, okay, cool, and he released the dog. So where was I at? Oh yeah, so each time you repeat this, it should be easier and easier to get back to that ending point. Either it takes less time, or you might even see, he'll see Penny, and then he'll start wagging his tail. Okay, don't assume we're good, you still do your steps. But the tail wagging is kind of like, oh, I've seen you 100 times. All right, cool, let's go for a walk together. and then you're making progress. Does that make sense? So with the muzzle, let's say we get it to the point where they are sniffing and coexisting, and maybe even some light play and stuff, you'll get to a point where you'll feel comfortable. Okay, and this we're talking about lots of repetitions of that interaction. That a lot of times people keep the muzzle first 10 to 15 minutes, and then to like kind of just ease into things, and when they feel comfortable enough, they'll remove it, and then their dogs are fine. Some people get to the point where they're fine with the muzzle, without the muzzle, with one particular dog, but then the next dog that they're trying to socialize them with, back to it's like repeating the same process, right? Now what can happen is if he makes 5 friends, and he might go over this kind of hump where the social side will come out of him, and he won't be like dog park, meet any dog friendly, but controlled context stuff like this, you'll start to see it's just easier and easier. And then you may not even need the muzzle anymore. Okay, it's all personal preference. I always opt to be on that side of caution because it just takes one good bite to like you'll lose your confidence, and then you have anxiety and nervousness of what if he bites another dog again, right? The other thing to keep in mind is like I have 2 brothers and a sister, and we fought. And I fight all the time, but we got in fights, right? So for the dogs, people assume once they're friends that there's never going to be tension. There may be tension at some point, but that's why as humans we're always watching and putting rules to things. If I feel the play is getting too intense, I'll cap it because then he might lose it because there's so much intensity. Or maybe she like pushes a boundary on him that he doesn't like, and it's the first time it's ever happened. So then he thinks, "Oh crap, I'm going to teach you a lesson," right? Then we correct them, address everything, calm it down, and then continue on. I may not have them be free and loose again, but they'll still be in the same area with each other. So he doesn't think this happened and we got separated. Because that's the worst thing that people do. Because when the fight happens, they scream and yell, grab the dogs and pull them apart. So the last thing the dogs remember is all this emotion, screaming and yelling, and fighting. I stop the fight, no yelling, stop it, correct everything, and have them in the same vicinity of each other. Not right next to each other, but in the same space, so that the last thing he remembers is, yeah, we got in a fight, but they addressed it, and we had to hang out for another 30 minutes. Does that make sense? It's the same thing they do with kids too. You know? I remember in high school I got in a fight, and the guy punched me and I punched him back. They stuck us in a room together, right? By ourselves. And like a few hours go by, and then he goes, "I didn't think you were gonna punch me." And I said, "Dude, it was self-defense. Like I'm cool. Like I'm good. I'm not in trouble, right?" And then we started talking, and we actually squashed the tension that we had. Does it make sense? So it's kind of the same thing for a dog. Obviously, they're not gonna talk to each other, but it's kind of like they're sitting there, like, okay, we got in a fight. It is what it is, but here we are coexisting again. Okay, so we're not that different. It's just the way we communicate and handle things is a little bit different. Okay, questions?
No.
How you feeling?
You know, it's going to be a long process, so it's a little hard, but
It's okay. There's no rush.
we've
for
already
these
gotten
things.
through hard, we've been handling hard for a while.
Yeah, there's no rush. Okay, everybody's progress is different. Now, the more you push, the more often you push, obviously, the faster your progress is going to be. Everybody has a cap. You know, I wish I could get everybody to 110%. But the reason why I push for that is because I'm going to end up closer to 100 unless I just go like, you know what, let's limit it just to this, and we'll only go to this point, and then you're going to get less than that.
Right.
Does that make sense? Questions?
Like after this, we're gonna have a little picnic together. For the levels we're at with him, he's at, what would you recommend in terms of like just trying to hang out with him today with the dog, or is that?
Or we could put him in the car.
We were like, oh, just put him in the car.
For sure.
Okay.
Just
So,
keep it 6 feet.
Okay, so just have them he's obviously going to be...
What I would do is, let's say right here, right, you have these steps. You can, if you relax your leash, let the right hand go. And then with your right foot, go ahead and pull up the leash a little bit, and you're going to step on it. Like that. Okay? So you're sitting down, you have your foot in the leash, and you have it in your hand like so. So he's anchored. Okay? And then for her, the most I would push it with you guys is probably about 4 feet. Because there's still probably going to be a little bit of give. There's going to be the shock of like, holy crap, kind of like with the walk, right? Like, what is happening? that you can address them. So you're still pushing. So the longer that these guys are actually just hanging out, even though you're not doing anything, you're just hanging out, you're in resting state. That is an activity. So when I get dogs that are human aggressive, one of the things that I do is I'll tell them, have someone come over, you address the dog, and then remote the dog to go to the human, where the dog's like resting right here, and just let the dog be there for like 2 hours while you watch a movie. That's an activity, right? It's something you do with Finn, right? That's what's created your bond, your friendship. So the same thing here, except they're not immediately next to each other, but he's within 4 feet or of 4 feet, and he's like, okay, we hung out for 45 minutes, and it wasn't a big deal. That's what you're trying to condition in him to help build that trust, and ideally to see that curiosity come out. Okay, I'm all for pushing things. Okay, as long as it's done safely. So since we don't have a muzzle or anything, I go, no big deal. We just keep the distance, 4 feet, and you step on the leash. So this way, even if you kind of get distracted, your foot's still going to be there. That you're going to have some leverage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Other questions?
So with the muzzle, like right now we're just doing treats and he's putting his nose in it.
Mm-hmm.
So do we start taking him out for just normal walks with it so there's no specific association or?
Right, so you want to make the muzzle seem like another thing.
Okay.
Another collar, it's another leash, whatever. Keep doing the food stuff. And what I do is, as an added step, is if you take the muzzle and you put aluminum foil to seal it, you put his food in there. Okay, because then the next thing is keeping his face in there for a period of time. Because I'll present it, and like let's say the dog has a problem with the muzzle. They'll come up, they'll sniff it, they'll walk away. I put the muzzle up. Okay, they don't eat. Then I bring back, for lunch or for dinner, the same meal. They'll sniff it, go, nope, I'm not putting my face in there. I put it away, and I keep repeating that. Eventually, the dog goes, crap, I haven't eaten, and the only time I sniff or smell my food is when I see that muzzle come out, and it disappears every time I walk away from it. Let me take advantage and see what happens if I just eat my meal. So you're kind of forcing a very black and white, like, hey, you're not going to eat unless it's from this muzzle. So the dog has to keep their face in there. Now what can happen is the dog will play a game, take a couple of pieces, and eat over here. Okay? If that happens, the muzzle disappears. So the dog goes, crap, if I pull my face out of the muzzle, it goes away. So then they're going to want to keep their face in there. Okay? That's one part of it. The other part is you go on a walk. You can give the treat, you put it on them, give them a treat, and you just start your walk. And you got a couple dogs with them. So then what ends up happening is if he's not comfortable with the muzzle, you have to do what I call force conditioning, which almost always happens, okay? Because the muzzle takes away his primary self-defense, which is his mouth. Is that as you're walking, you might see him pawing at it to try to remove it. I just keep walking and I remote him and pull up until he removes his paws, and then I stop remoting, and I'm walking the whole time. Because he can't fight the muzzle and walk at the same time. He has to do one or the other. And that's how I get him over it. Okay, so we're walking, he fights the muzzle, I keep walking, I pull up and tap, and so eventually he loses, he's like wobbly, he'll stop and he'll start walking and I relax. And I just keep repeating that process. So he thinks every time I try to fight it, remote goes off. When I'm relaxed, remote goes away. And that's what I call force conditioning. Okay, they go hand in hand. Okay, so even if you see him accepting, I still do the food stuff because it doesn't hurt. Okay. Other questions?
So.
We can push a tiny bit more. Would you like to?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, are you comfortable with that? Yeah. Okay.
So we're in a swap here. Enrique, do you mind handling Penny? Do you mind if I handle Penny?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something. All right. And I'll have you guys go step back, please. So I'm going to show you a little trick. Okay. Now, because I know he's got. Pause for 1 second. I'm not tapping here. There we go. He's fairly tense. Okay. What I do is I take my right hand here, since he's on my right side. Take my leash here. Okay. Bring her around. And I'm putting tension to my left. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Forward up to the left. Well, my hand keeps them pressed against my right leg to keep them in place, and I'm going to relax just a wee bit. Because if you keep it tight like this the whole time, it's tension. It's going to feed negative energy. So I have my position, and you can see how he's starting to shake here, right?
Yeah.
So we're obviously pressing a threshold. And in Enrique, I'm going to have you close it a little bit. So the reason for having this here is I have immediate control over that head, moving away from where we're going to present Penny to, which is his rear. And you can see a little eyeball there. We're on 7, that's fine. Do one more turn, and then you're going to present Penny to his rear, okay? Good. Right there. There you go. So you see him tucking his butt?
Yeah.
Okay, now pull away. Good. Now relax for a moment. Good. Okay. So, very good. I know.
One more?
Do another walk around. You can see the shaking is going crazy.
Yeah, he's sort of,
You see that? Yeah. And then go ahead and step away. Good. So you can see all that residual stress.
yeah.
You see that? So what I do is just use the dog's mechanics to my advantage. The way I had him pinned, it's like impossible, unless like, he really catches me off guard, to reach Penny. So I'm pulling out to the left and forward, so that if he tries something, his head's going to be redirected that way. And then here keeps his, so he can't move his body and flip around so that his head can be in front.
Okay, so it's head and hips.
Correct. So, right here. Because
Okay.
dogs direct their body with their shoulders and their front legs. Okay, so if I do this, he's essentially immobilized. The only concern I would have here is if he decides to act out or redirect, you are right there, but the way this is being handled should prevent him from actually getting to you. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind.
Okay.
If I saw the lip curl, hurt a growl, or anything like that, I would have remoted, but I didn't see or hear anything that I thought needed to be corrected. Okay, you guys want to try it while I'm here?
Wow. You want to try?
Yeah.
Alright, I can if you want.
Okay.
Stay in the office. Okay.
Here, let me do
Well, actually, you
mine
can let
first.
this. Yeah, because you guys are gonna be doing this with them, right?
Yeah.
You comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're grabbing, and you remember that locking hold I showed you, right? With you wrap around your finger. Oh wait, because you guys haven't done recall yet.
Oh, the leash lock? We
Yeah,
learned
like that.
Different.
Okay.
There you go, that one, perfect. No, but you're gonna get real close, right next to the clip.
Is
And
my right hand?
with your
Left.
left hand,
Okay.
because your right hand's gonna be holding his hips towards your right leg.
You think 7's a fine number to be on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're gonna pick up his butt like that, and there you go, right there. Okay. And that, yeah, you should be fine with that. Okay. You're gonna present. You're gonna walk with Penny around, and you're gonna come from behind on the side that you're on.
And
right
the neck
there.
tension I should have on him, or it should be.
Yeah,
Okay.
like that's fine. Okay, now careful here. 1 second. 1 second. Going to do a full circle.
Okay, flashing.
There we go. And you're gonna bring her there.
Well, you love butts.
And you can, for her, you can even like kind of lightly pick her up to present her.
Okay.
Careful, right? Careful,
Nice. Good girl.
right? Careful. Good. Good. And then away. Good. Okay. We're gonna do a couple of walk-arounds, and then we're gonna try one more. One thing that I liked was he would actually seem more engaged with something over here.
Yeah.
Because this is the worst part of it for him. This is what he doesn't want. So that's what he's trying to, make not happen. So when it's already happening, it's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
well, how much worse can it get?
Right.
I'm just going around right now, right?
And you're right on this one, you will present.
Okay.
Okay. Watch here, careful.
I already smoked.
Good. That's okay. Because even her presence just being there, very good. And then away. And now relax and go back to your normal position. There you go. Good. Now here, yep, this you would correct. Because that's the stress overload and wanting comfort.
Yeah.
Okay? We just squash it. Nope, nothing to be worried about. Just a dog sniffing your butt. We're fine. Okay? So you can force stuff to happen like that, and then it's like this can help with what we didn't get to today. I try to make it happen and flow as organically as possible. It doesn't always work that way. So if I have to force it, this is what I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Questions?
I don't think so.
You did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. You kept your cool. We had a little mishap, no big deal, correct it, keep moving forward. But I would recommend with that muzzle for sure.
Okay.
Okay? Anything else?
No.
I think that's it.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Yeah. We all lived.
Yeah.
Awesome. So make your list of questions or whatever.
Okay.
And then if you want to have a Zoom about it, but this is quite a few repetitions.
Yeah.
So I would say definitely to get the most out of that. Try to get some interactions going.
Okay.
Mistakes are going to happen. Mistakes are how we learn.
Yeah.
But muzzle will help prevent anything from happening, obviously. But this way, you make some progress and you make an even, because the rest is really going to be a lot of FYI stuff. It's literally just this. If you're having trouble with the next degree, which is what do we do when everything's going fine and we want to kind of have them intermingle, that could be in a session of its own. Or, I can coach you through it via Zoom or what have you.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks
Good
for your
job,
help.
guys. Yeah, no worries.